Good evening. This meeting of the Barnstable Infrastructure and Energy Committee is being recorded and will be posted for future viewing on the Town of Barnstable website. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, anyone else desiring to make a recording or transmission must notify the chair. I'm not seeing, I do see that Rob Wilson joined, so I'm not seeing that anyone else is recording. So with that, I can hand it over to you, Barry.
Okay, why don't we see how this works with my being on a cell phone? But you want to start with reviewing the minutes from our last meeting? They look good to me. I don't know whether anyone has any comments.
I actually am not looked at them. Sorry. I was focused on trying to get my slides together, but if you think they're good, that's probably okay with me too.
All right. Have other people reviewed them, or?
I actually haven't, to be honest. So maybe we could, well, actually I won't be here next week, so.
I'm sorry.
All right. Why don't we just defer that till the next meeting, as if people haven't reviewed that. All right. So let's move on to the Green Communities Workshop. So let me I can give a short summary. So we I guess where we were last together, we have half a dozen speakers. We have an outline. And before I left on vacation, I asked everybody to provide a draft of their presentation by noon Monday, which is today. And actually, I was planning to come back Sunday, and because of a flight snafu, I didn't get back till today. I have gotten drafts from the two speakers from DOER and Sean Hogan and Chris Zula, who's was a HERS rater, and I'm waiting to get drafts from Jane and Chris.
I have mine, but
okay.
But it is a draft, and they're too. I'm sure it's too long for 5 minutes, so I was gonna try to trim them down. But
yep. Please make it.
Or I can.
Please make it shorter. I'll tell you a little bit about it, because of the three presenters other than Sean, they have over 100 slides. That's not gonna be workable, so my plan is to go back and review that and maybe get back to people to see whether there's issues of cutting it down, but also how the different presentations fit together. So, so Jane, and if you're still working on yours, I would take the extra time, make 3 or 4 points, and hopefully you can make those points in 5 minutes or so.
I think my slides, because it's still a draft, I think I'm repeating myself, with rephrasing them and repeating, but I can cut them down. I probably shouldn't go much more than 5 or 6 slides for 5 minutes. And my general rule of thumb in talks I've given through my career was a slide a minute. So
I think that, that's my sense as well. So that would be good.
I thought Sean's were good. He shared them with several of us. I thought he had a very good start, and his were very to the point.
Right. Yeah. So I did talk to Sean once when I was away, and it would be good to go into this meeting with a better sense of what needed to be done other than the stretch code and how long it would take. That's kind of was my ask for him, but I know he was working on that. I don't know what he'll be able to say more definitively, but so the workshop is scheduled for next Thursday, a week from Thursday, so that'll give some time. And I'll get probably when I get back tonight or start working on it tomorrow morning. So that's anyway. Any comments or thoughts on that?
Well, I think the DOER folks need to shorten theirs. I thought I saw either one slide or one comment from Chris Mazzoli, and it looks like he's going to be terrific. He's going to really add some key information. I didn't see
so
the presentation.
Yeah, I haven't really gone through his stuff, but he's got 40 slides.
Oh, I didn't see that. No, I just saw.
Yeah, so.
He showed a
But
pretty
anyway,
interesting map of people that were getting HERS ratings in the town.
Oh, right, I saw that.
And
yeah,
that was important. I thought that was kind of an interesting point to make, that it's useful enough that people are getting it anyway.
Right. I think the issue is people are used to the way they do presentations, and they're generally sort of more of the show rather than having so many speakers.
Yes, I agree.
So so anyways, I'll try to do my best with that. And that's really what I have at this point. I did try to get David Anthony. I kind of missed him a couple of times. It was, anyways, it was hard under the circumstances because obviously I was in Europe. But, so anyway, that's kind of a summary. There's still quite a bit of work that needs to be done.
I just wanted to comment briefly, Barry, that I've spoken to a couple groups that I'm part of, and I've shared the fact that we're going to have this workshop and that this issue is coming up, and I'm encouraging people to talk to their town councilors or express their opinions. So I think there's a fair amount of interest. People may come to either the workshop or join on Zoom or make a public comment or write in a comment or whatever. But
I think that's a great idea. That's good. Yeah. So, anything else on green communities?
I think so. Not for me.
Okay. All right. So why don't we move on to food waste? John, you want to take the lead on
this? Sure. We have actually a few things going on with food waste. It was, I guess, was it 2 weeks ago, Jane, or 1 week ago? There was
a couple weeks ago, I think.
There was a meeting at.
Disappointing. Steve thought it was disappointing. I didn't really talk about what we would hoped.
Yeah. Well, I was, I guess I'm always an optimist. I was encouraged that it looks like this initiative to develop a composting facility at the Joint Base is moving ahead. It will take a couple of years, but it seems to be on track. The main takeaway, or the main thing that I learned at that meeting, is that up to this point, this has been an initiative that's been focused just on what they call the 4 Upper Cape towns. I think that's Sandwich, Bourne, Falmouth, and I guess Mashpee. And then they say, well, maybe we could add Barnstable to it sometime. but they haven't really thought of Barnstable as one of the main communities for this. And I think that that's something that we should make it a point to reach out and say, we really want to be included in this. We really don't
So,
want to be.
John, if I can ask you a question, John. So, for the study that's being done, is the funding the Cape Cod Commission, the state, the feds? Who's funding it?
It was funded. I don't know. The Cape Cod Commission received a grant. I'm not sure who the grant was from, but the grant was obtained by the county, the extension of the Cape Cod Commission, and they're the ones who are leading it. Carrie Parcell being really, I think, the point person on it. And so it seems to me that this is a county initiative that we know if we want to be included, we shouldn't be left out. And but I think it would be helpful if we really made it a point to officially say, Town of Barnstable, really, we have the same need as these other towns, and we want to be included in the planning for this.
John, do you think we have to go through the DPW and the transfer station to make that statement? Rather than just our committee?
Well, I'm sort of not I'm not sure about that. And I think
Kelly
that I can
know.
certainly express interest on behalf of the committee, and that carries some weight. I think it would carry more weight to have either DPW or the town council formally endorsing this.
I don't even know if the town council, but
to Jane's point, it probably, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I would assume there probably needs to be some type of formal communication between the transfer station and or Dan Santos.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's just really because that we want to be part of the planning process, if that's something that the director can defer to this committee, that might be the route to go. And then that way you can be that point person, John, or whoever from the committee wants to.
Sure, that would be the most expedient way to do that. Should I wait to get sort of a word back from Dan Santos that he is in agreement on this? Is that sort of what you're?
John, just my suggestion would be the first thing I would do is to put together like a 1 or 2 pager of the information. Who's doing the study, where's the money coming from, what's the opportunity for the town of Barnstable, and have that, and maybe then the next step, maybe talking to Dan Santos about it.
The report going to be from Carrie. Didn't Carrie expect to have a more formal report by like this week or next week?
I think she was saying March.
I think Alan Robinson thought mid-March, so we're getting close to mid-March.
We're getting close to that. We could wait for that. I mean, right now, I'm not sure I have all that information, and I need to. But that would be fine to wait until we see what the next step is from Carrie, and then go from there.
John, just so I understand, just a question. So they would collect the waste essentially from each town. People from the town wouldn't be expected to go up there and bring it.
Well, I don't know. I think that what they're building is a facility to accept the food waste and do the composting process. But I think it would be, we'd have to, now from the transfer station, then that would give us another option of where we could take it, perhaps at less cost. Hopefully at significantly less cost. Also, we don't know with Watts Family Farm where it's going now. We don't know what their capacity is if we were to grow this and collect more. But I don't think the proposal involves collection or transportation efforts.
But it
Okay.
wasn't part of the idea that Black Earth or somebody like that would be contracted to run it. I thought Black Earth was part of the discussion just because they're so active in Falmouth.
Right, to operate in the sense
To
of
operate, but
accepting the food waste
not necessarily to collect it, unless it was, I think beside the schools in Falmouth, they have a few defined collection points, not household collection, but, you know,
right.
town.
Falmouth has, I think, two points where people can bring their food waste, and they have a way that you can drop it off. And then I think Black Earth collects it. Of course, the problem is Black Earth takes it all the way up to Manchester by the Sea, up north of Boston, uh, to where their actual. I think it's Manchester by the Sea. It's Manchester anyway. And I think it's in the Massachusetts Manchester. So that's a long way to transport it. That's a lot of expense and a lot of fuel being used to do that. So that's one of the things we've got going on with food waste. I think, Kelly, it's April 10th. We're going to do a presentation in West Barnstable on recycling generally and also on food waste collection.
Yeah, so to John's point, I guess it was the library sort of curator or manager, or might be an events manager there, had asked if we would present, if DPW could present on just recycling in general. So I talked with Director Santos, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to have someone from the committee like John speak about composting, because it's part of the program, and why not? So yeah, it's going to be, I don't know how many people will show up, but I'm essentially going to have a pretty straightforward slide deck that's very high level. What they're looking for is just to educate folks on what they can recycle, what they can't, how it works, and then I'll sort of turn it over to John to talk a bit about the composting program, or the food waste program. So it should be a good opportunity just to kind of even initially gauge people's understanding and awareness of composting. So
Yeah, absolutely. Everything, that's really, I think, our main part of our mission is education. So I think that's great. Also along the same lines, on April 5th, on Saturday, at the Rotary Club Home Show, last year I did a presentation there on composting. The person who set this up was Lillian Wu from the town from the town finance committee. I think she may be the chairwoman of that committee. But she had asked me to do that last year, and then she asked me to do that again this year. And it went pretty well, I thought, last year. We had about,
Great.
were you there, Jane?
Yes, so you did
Yeah.
a great job, and you had a very involved audience. They really were, I think people really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was, I thought, a good session. So I'm looking forward to doing that again. So we have a couple of public outreach things in the pipeline. The other thought I had about food waste is that we are coming up to the transfer station. I still say sticker, but of course they're not really stickers anymore. But the permit renewal process is probably about to gear up, and it would be tremendous if we could use that as an opportunity to communicate with the with the transfer station users about food waste. If there was possible to put, when you're, I think a lot of people go in online
yeah, there's the
to
online portal now.
To the port. If there's a way we could put a message there. Alternatively, maybe we could include our flyer in when we mail out because I think you go online and then you do that, you pay your fee, and then you get mailed the sticker. So
Yeah,
maybe we can include our flyer in the mailing. And I think also if we could just sort of put a banner or something on there while we have people staring at the computer screen to renew their sticker. So I thought that would be good to take advantage of that opportunity this year. And then the sort of the last thought I have along the lines of communication is I think it would be really good if we can address the question of signage at the transfer station, particularly if we're going to go to go to out to West Barnstable and give a talk at the library and tell everybody about this great facility that we have at the transfer station. I really think we should do more to make it a little easier for people to find it.
Yeah, I can follow up with Tracy because I thought that I thought he and Chris were working on that while I was out and sort of as I was coming back. So let me follow up with him on the signage as well as the permit renewals.
Yeah, and what I think would be great is if we could have a sign that not only made it the key thing from my point of view is we want a sign that's visible in the main recycling area so that as people are doing their bottles and cans, they see this sign that points them to doing food waste as well. But then also I think as much as we can put onto a sign that goes into all the reasons that all the benefits of collecting food waste and getting it out of the waste stream, we could put some of that in. I think we'd be limited in how much you could put on a sign, but you could, I think, get some of those key points across.
Yep, definitely.
So that's all I have on food waste.
It's a lot.
Thank you, John.
More than
Yeah. Anyone else have any comments or suggestion on that? Oh, that was very comprehensive, John. Thank you.
It's terrific to have all these good communication, education opportunities. That's great.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Well, good. So let's, I think Chris Cloninger's not here, so I don't know whether anyone has anything to add on climate science.
Well, just that they're the federal government's trying to fire many of our scientists that have to do with weather. So I was kind of interested to hear if Chris had a thought about that. They were protesting at Woods Hole. I think 400 or so scientists and many around the country were protesting the cuts. It's going to be harder to report on climate change going forward.
Well, that is true. I mean, the question, what we can do. So Chris is, as part of this workshop, plan is to put a 5-minute presentation on climate change and how it relates to the stretch code that we're dealing with. Jane, do you have anything on air quality?
Well, that's kind of the focus of my 5-minute talk.
Okay.
It's really the key to why adopting the stretch code would help to make our buildings healthier. And it's actually interesting that most of our other towns on the Cape that have already reported on what they've done with their green community money many of them have worked on HVAC upgrades and indoor air quality. And so my main focus on the 5-minute talk is, this is a real opportunity to make not only our schools, but whichever town buildings and offices
Right.
gets chosen.
And I guess, yeah. I guess the other point is with the ventilation requirements, sort of the issues of years ago of sick buildings that were,
right,
that were really tight.
Yeah.
You
avoid sick buildings, you avoid sick people, basically.
Yeah,
and
so
the other
sort of
important thing is the ventilation is people are not only healthier, they're more productive because they can think better.
Yeah.
When you don't have good ventilation, the carbon dioxide goes up, people get headaches, they go to sleep, and there's good data both from business
Yeah.
community as
So
well as schools.
the reason I raised that, it may seem kind of an obvious point to you or me, but the last go around in the stretch code, and I forget who made the point. I think it was one of the builders, basically saying the tighter buildings or sicker buildings, and this sort of, I think, has been addressed in the last iteration of the stretch code. So I think that's a point worth making.
Sure, I will do that then. I forgot that somebody said that. Yeah. And that was a problem.
Yeah.
That was a criticism, a valid criticism. In fact, I hope to start a committee at NIH on that very issue, because the early green buildings were too tight. That's what got a huge ongoing effort in the state of Maine going. Their indoor air quality council was founded because of that.
Yeah.
But I don't.
And
I'll make a bigger deal.
It's also being, and it's also being done in a more energy efficient way. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay. So I think we're reaching the end of our agenda. Does anyone have any other suggestions or things they want to talk about?
I just want to get back to editing my slides. I'm motivated though. I'm very glad you gave us a deadline. So, that will,
yeah.
Jane was nice enough to invite me to the Cape Cod Technology Council meeting a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it, but I have joined the Cape Cod Technology Council.
Yes,
and I've been back and forth, been CC'd on, as part of the council on a lot of the emails as far as expanding broadband internet on the Cape goes. So I'm just hoping to get more involved with that and be a resource to the group and, to the town committee for
Ron,
that.
do you know that there is an infrastructure meeting of the Tech Council next Wednesday? I believe it's 9 o'clock, a Zoom meeting.
Is it the third Wednesday of every month?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think it's the 19th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so Ron,
they are thrilled that you're joining in.
No, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Oh, that's great. And I've also joined.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Well, and I've had communication from the Walt, who runs the infrastructure committee, who's incidentally having hip surgery Thursday, but he's really glad. They're really glad to have everybody and anybody from our committee that's interested in cross-pollinating with the Tech Council. That it gives us a different reach and some different minds to put towards this same topic.
Absolutely.
So I think it's useful. Thank you for joining, both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Jane, you should get a title for maybe chief evangelist.
Well, I do feel a little bit like an
or
evangelist
something like
right now.
Yes, or something like that.
The
Yeah.
green community,
Okay.
and I'm also recruiting people to join the standout in support of the veterans and the Veterans Association administration on Friday at noon at the Hyannis Airport Rotary, because they're threatening to cut 80,000 positions in the Veterans Administration, which is certainly going to slow down services being rendered.
Yeah, totally get that. So, good. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Yes.
We're all
Yes.
okay. Well, we're adjourned. I think we just broke the record for shortest meeting. Congratulations, everybody.